Hi folks, welcome to this live stream. This one's going to be a little bit different. This is essentially my practice session, so I'll be very clear from the beginning. This is not a lesson. This is not a normal live stream where I'm discussing concept or teaching or anything like that. I am currently in the process, as you may already know, of developing a book on broken time jazz drumming. I've done numerous live streams on that topic before, and quite simply, I am currently practicing that material, so I thought I would share with you that practice session and along the way discuss some of the concepts I'm using and how I'm going about practicing that. I'm really fascinated by the process of practicing, theories of practicing, so this may be of interest to some of you, it may not be of interest to some of you, that's absolutely fine. But I thought I would share what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and discuss it as I go. And for those of you that have any questions, drop them in the chat, and I'll answer them as I go. So I'll just do a little bit of talking to explain what I'm doing, and then I'm essentially going to get on with it, and you can come and go as you please. I am working out of one of the sets of core motifs. So this is a 3-beat motif, and the main original motif that I'm developing sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, part of the process of developing vocabulary is to internalize it and be familiar with it as possible in as many different contexts and as many different ways as possible. So at the moment, I've got some recording coming up that requires this sort of vocabulary, and the tempo of the track that I need to record is 225 BPM. I am trying to work this up to 260 BPM to give myself headroom. It's more than possible at faster than 260, but that's what I'm working towards, and that's what I'm going to be working on today. The second thing I'm doing is I'm incorporating from the same set of vocabulary a variation of this motif, which sounds like this. It's from that same original idea, but it's a kind of variation, a slight change. And then I may get on to a third variation and a fourth, but we will see how we go, because I'm really going for quality over quantity here. So essentially, I'm working through a play-along piece from a play-along app. And I'm working at lots of different tempos, doing the first phrase for a head. This is in jazz context. The second phrase for a head, and then a combination of those phrases for 2 heads. And I'm trying to count it all as I go. Now, I'm not going to count into the microphone because none of you want to hear that. But if you see me mouthing along, I'm doing my best to count, to count the arrangement as I'm playing it. So I'm going to start at a nice leisurely 150 BPM. And then I'm going to gradually bump it up and see how we go. Now, the other thing I'm going to say, and then I promise I'll shut up and I'll get started, is I'm also working on some solo vocabulary phrases. That sort of stuff. And one of my favorite theories of practicing is random block practice, where you work on 2 things simultaneously and you keep switching between them, and it forces the brain to stay focused. The act of transitioning is a great way to keep the brain engaged. So if at some point I decide to do a play along using these solo phrases, that's what I'm doing. I'm working on these solo phrases separately, and I will switch between the 2 to keep myself engaged. Anyway, stick any questions in the chat, and as we go, I will answer them if I can. Otherwise, sit back and enjoy me struggling through some jazz. So that last time was 2-3-5, which I'm perfectly comfortable with in terms of the execution, less so on the left hand, of course. But I found when I was doing heads 3 and 4, when I'm combining the two motifs, so in effect I'm doing a 6-beat motif, the original and the variation as a combination, I found I was actually losing the combination sometimes. I'd like do the first one twice and then the second one twice or something like that. So it's kind of trying to keep mentally in control of what I'm playing there. You see me on the 4th head there trying to do it all left-handed. That's actually something I'm working on, just simply to improve my left hand generally. Like a lot of people, my left hand is weaker than my right, and I spent many years playing traditional grip. So I'm sort of trying to get my left hand matched to catch up. And one of the reasons my right hand is so strong is because of all the jazz ride cymbal work I've been doing. So by working everything through left-handed, it's just a way for me to increase my left-hand ability. So I'm going to bump it up now. I'm going to do 260. I'm not going to try it left-handed, and then I might move on to some solo phrases. And yes, the drummer faces are absolutely standard for everybody. So just to fill you in what I was doing there, just for reference, that was 165 BPM. I'm doing 4 choruses of this tune, which some of you may recognize as Bebop, Dizzy Gillespie. The first chorus, I'm doing a 4-beat phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second chorus, I'm doing a 5-beat phrase, which is that same one with a 5th beat added. The third chorus, I'm doing a 6-beat phrase, which is that first phrase with 2 beats added. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the fourth chorus, I'm doing a 7-beat phrase, which is the 6 with the 1 beat from the 5 added on. So it's kind of a 4 plus a 2 plus a 1. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they're the 4 phrases that I was working on there. Now, another thing to talk about is the speed of practicing. This is a bone of contention for a lot of people, because there's a lot of media and a lot of literature out there that talk about slow everything down to literally slow motion, and you should never be practicing fast. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I think you have to practice at all tempos, because when you are playing something at 260 BPM, like an up-tempo jazz thing, it is different to when you're playing that same thing at 60 BPM. They are physically different muscles, different movements. Just like when you bounce a basketball really, really high, it is very different from bouncing a basketball very, very low to the ground, or a tennis ball. So they are different things. So I think it's very important to cover the entire range. So I've just done 165. I'm going to drop it right down now to like 110 or something like that. And this time I'm focusing much more on the execution, whereas that previous one was a little bit more of an endurance exercise. And I just believe you have to cover all of your bases. And this is born from experience, because I was that person that never practiced anything above 60 BPM. And then when you come to try it on stage, you wonder why you simply can't keep up when the tempo you're trying to play is triple that. So I do think it's important to cover all the bases. Your comments appreciated, of course. Anyway, I'm going to try that solo phrase again. I'm going to slow it right down this time. So listen out, for those of you interested, to the 4-beat phrase in the first chorus, the 5-beat phrase in the second, the 6-beat phrase in the third, and the 7-beat phrase in the fourth. And I'm trying to keep it all within the 4 bars of 4/4. 105 BPM. My drum teacher always let me go from minimum to maximum over every groove. Yeah, so that's sometimes called a sort of open-closed method, isn't it? Where you start really, really slowly and you gradually build all the way up to your maximum tempo, and then sometimes you can come back down again. That one I was just practicing is a really interesting exercise because the phrase itself is a really cool phrase, but by adding a beat sequentially each time, 4 beats, 5 beats, 6 beats, 7 beats, you get this motivic development effect that gets quite polyrhythmic across the 4/4, because obviously this is a jazz standard in 4/4, and that lovely MIDI backing track is just keeping everything plodding along nicely. Yet you get this rolling 7-beat solo phrase over the bar line, which is really, really cool. So it's of course trying to make sure the execution is good, but also, as you're seeing me counting there, trying to make sure I'm keeping track of where I am in the arrangement and where I am in the bar as well. So I'm gonna speed that up later on, but I'm gonna go back to my 3-beat motifs now. I'll probably do what did I do before? I did 260, didn't I? Shall we push it? So shall we see if we can do 285? Why not? bit of trouble for some reason when I switch across onto this cymbal. Now, you can probably see how knackered these sticks are. The heads are absolutely atrocious, so I'm not getting much rebound, but nevertheless, I don't know why I'm finding it so much easier over here and just a little bit awkward over here. Anyway, that's clearly a little bit too fast to be practicing at this stage. Anyway, the fact that I'm relatively comfortable keeping those two motifs and their combination at 285 BPM when my target is 225 suggests to me it is time to bring in a third variation. So I'm going to introduce a third motif, a second variation now from the set. I've got my book on my stand here. There's my second variation. So I'm going to call that variation C. So the original we'll call A. The first variation we'll call B. And then C. They're each 3 beats long, and B and C are derivatives of A. So that's really the process that I'm working from here. So we're going to introduce this third phrase now, and my combination is now going to become A, B, C in sequence. So this is going to essentially become a 9-beat broken time motif. So I'm not going to practice A, B, and C individually this time. I'm going to practice C individually just to improve my familiarity with it, and then I'm going to jump up to doing an A, B, C combination for 3 heads, 3 choruses. All right, so that's starting to flow quite nicely. So if you just join me there, what I'm doing, the first chorus, I'm doing a single 3-beat variation, and then the second and third choruses, I'm doing a 3-part combination with the original and the 2 variations. Anyway, that's flowing quite nicely, so I'm going to make it a little bit more interesting now to push myself a little bit more. What are we currently on? 9 beats, because we've got 3, 3, and 3. I'm going to add a 5-beat motif now, just to give this a little bit more of a resolution point, because shorter motifs, 3-beat motifs like these, they always build tension because they're shorter than the bar in which you're playing them, so they compress the time. So I'm gonna counterbalance that now with a 5-beat motif, which has the opposite effect. It stretches time because it's longer than the bar. So I'm going to do 3, 3, 3, the combination that I've just done, followed by a 5, which gives us a 14-beat combination all told. Now that's going to sound really nice over 4/4 as long as I can pull it off. So push myself a little bit. So the 5-beat motif is one I have practiced a lot before. These are not brand new to me, but I'm trying to push my capabilities with them. So the 5-beat motif sounds like this. Can't remember it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the 5-beat motif in isolation, but we don't want it in isolation. We want to be able to combine that nicely with what we've already been doing. So I'm going to have a little play with it on my own first, and then I'll stick the music on. And essentially the combination I am working for now is the original 3-beat motif, the first variation, the second variation, and then this 5. So 3, 3, 3, 5, making 14 beats in total. Wish me luck. Okay, I've encountered a problem here. The first 3-beat motif I'm practicing begins with a hi-hat on the 1. All 3 of the 3-beat motifs do. The 5-beat motif that I've just brought in ends with a hi-hat on the off-beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't really want 2 left foot hi-hat strokes next to each other, especially when I start going up tempo. So instead, I'm going to replace that 5 with a 7. 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That ends on a bass drum, so that's going to give me a chance to get back to that 3-beat motif. However, it's slightly less interesting because 3, 3, 3, and 7, of course, makes 16. So this doesn't have quite the same polyrhythmic effect. Now, I'll tell you what we'll do. To make it interesting, we'll do 3, 3, 3, 5, then the 7. That's more interesting, isn't it? We like a challenge. So this is turned into a long combination suddenly. So I'm doing a 3, 3, 3, 5, 7. That's much more interesting. Now, I can't promise this will sound particularly good because I am working with difficult combinations for practicing purposes. Nevertheless, we will see. This is a really interesting way to develop new vocabulary. So 3, 3, 3, 5, 7. Hopefully you got those. 275, and what's going on there? The 5. You know, remember I'm doing a 3-3-3-5-7. The 5-beat motif starts with sequential eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It starts with 5 eighth notes in a row on the right hand, and my right hand is just locking up at that tempo. To be fair, I've been going for 2.5 hours now, before I started this live stream even, so my right hand's probably due a little bit of a break, but that's what's going on there. It's really frustrating because the 3, the 3, the 3 and the 7 are all completely comfortable at that tempo. It's really annoying because that 5 sounds so good, but those 5 consecutive eighth notes fact, the 3 just before it ends with 2 more consecutive eighth notes. So there's 7 eighth notes in a row. That's why I can't play the thing. That's what I'm trying to play, but at 275 the tempo is just a little bit too fast for that right hand. But hopefully you can see the approach I'm taking here. It's modular, right? I'm adding piece by piece as I become more comfortable at what I'm doing. And this is all about building headroom. As I said, the target for what I've got to record in a few weeks' time is at 225 BPM. So by practicing at 240, 260, 275, 280, I'm giving myself the headroom to be completely in control of this material, and of course to work with the different combinations and things like that as well. So what are we on? 52 minutes is that? 53 minutes. Well, those of you that have watched this all the way through, congratulations for watching me practice for nearly an hour. I'll probably end it there because my right hand is running out of puff. Just to say, and I think this is an important point about practicing, it's not fatigued, it's not tense, it's not exhausted in terms of I've just been doing a workout. It's just tired. The body shows fatigue in different ways. It doesn't feel like it's just lifted weights, you know, I'm not numb or anything like that. It's just the control is sapping away, dripping away, draining away. The control is draining away because it's, and that's something that I will need to address next practice session to reinforce the progress I may have made today. Actually saying that, my hand is starting to ache now, so that is a good sign that it is time to sign off and have a break. I've got some students shortly anyway. For those of you that enjoy what I do, wherever you are in the world, I do offer video lessons in this format, one-to-one, via Zoom, Skype, Google Hangouts, or even Facebook Messenger if you haven't got anything else. All you would need to do is point an iPhone or an iPad or whatever at your drum kit, and I will be set up as we are now. So if you like what I do and you'd fancy a lesson, visit jonathancurtis.co.uk in the description, and feel free to get in touch or book even through the website there. But I'd love to hear from you all. Join me again tomorrow for my scheduled live stream. I haven't decided what I'm going to do it about yet. I kind of decide on the day based on what I'm interested in then and there. But join me tomorrow lunchtime, UK time, for my regular live stream, and I hope to see some of you then. Thank you very much, and work hard, stay safe. Thank you guys. See you later.